drift apart, then back again. Sorry, do I know you?
Sorry, do I know you?
Well, hello, ladies and gentlemen. My website just went live. I just wanted to tell you that, Ian, and then I'll.
What?
And then
Do you have a website?
I have a website now.
Who built your website for you?
Ben Yanning.
Nice.
Yeah.
The Germans with their twiddly fingers.
Twiddly fingers, lad.
Yeah.
Colinandrewmusic.com. Get on it. All right.
Let's have a scanseroo with this there now.
I don't know if it's actually live yet, actually. No, but the site is up. Okay, here we go. Is it up?
I don't know. Baby. What did you make it on? Squarespace?
Wix.
Ooh, it looks nice.
Wix.
Bandcamp, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, TikTok, Twitter, Spotify.
You
Tour
got
dates.
all my music.
Nice. Tour dates, videos. This looks slick. Looks nice.
I'm happy with that now.
Fair play to him.
Now we're getting to Google optimization.
SEO, baby. Yeah, that's a fucking lovely website. Very good. Fair play, Ben Yanning. Fuck yeah, bitch. For the people who are listening, we are going through his website. So go to colinandrewmusic.com and have a look at his sexy website done by Ben Yanning. And I love the way the last video is the video we made that's on your page.
The acoustic version.
The acoustic version,
Jurassic.
baby. Oh, it just looks so good.
Is this how we're starting the episode? I guess we're kind of gone too far now to not start it like this.
That's how we're starting it. I'm just going to cream all over myself about how skillful I am when it comes to lighting.
As a videographer, man.
As a video,
it was actually fantastic.
Oh God, it looks so good.
So there you have it, folks.
I'm so unreal. As I say that now, I'm like, I'm so unreal. And then I just generally have like insecurities and imposter syndrome being like, actually, no, it's shit.
Yeah, well, let's talk about that. No,
let's talk about that.
This is, so that to summarize, I have a new website. It's called www.colinandrewmusic.com. Thanks very much. Now, welcome to episode 40. Can you believe that?
Holy shit.
This is 40 for the pod.
This is 40.
So, nice.
Can you, what is it? Fuck, what were those CDs called? Now 40 or something.
Now, and this is music, yeah.
No, this is music 40.
No, that's not what it is.
Is it? They were great.
That's what I call music.
Now that's what, and they had like fucking, I remember the years where I had like S Club 7 and all that shit on it. The bangers of the time. You don't get that anymore. Now you just get playlists on Spotify that no one listens to.
Yeah. We used to buy all of those. Me and my brother literally had we had like serious nows. I remember I went through my uncle's record collection and he had a Now 3.
Oh my God.
Yeah. Hymns
from fucking the Bible.
It was literally. Yeah, it was just like.
It is thy Lord. Yeah, like bangers of the time.
Yeah. That's so funny. Yeah, no, yeah, he had Now 3. It was like there was a really weird like pig on the record, but I don't know, was it around the time of Pink Floyd? When they put that pig on Battersea Power Station.
We used to get them every Christmas.
Yeah.
When we were really young now, like, you know, in our little stockings, and we was cracking on a little shitty fucking. My sister got one of those like little mini karaoke machine things.
Yeah.
And just crack on, and you could sing, like put on a CD and then you'd sing to the CD, like it wasn't just karaoke CDs, and just crack it on.
That's kind of cool.
It was great crack. Yeah. You just throw on the CD, switch it to karaoke mode, and then just shout into 2 microphones at 7:00 in the morning on Christmas.
And sounded awful.
While our already emotionally abusive parents lost their minds.
Don't stop, never give up. Don't you get high and reach the.
Shut up!
Fuck up.
Shut the fuck up! Lashing us with towels. You're a disappointment. I'm 6.
That sounds fun.
Nah. I'm joking. They didn't lash us with towels. They were shoes.
Oh yeah. I bought a pair of shoes in Lidl last night for £13. Delighted. They're actually fire enough. Are we putting up the video for this? Can I show the people my?
Yeah, I'd like to see them. I'm sure everyone else would like to see them as well. They wouldn't. For anyone who's listening, he's left the camera now to go find his shoes.
It's actually all right.
Yeah,
13 quid.
they're all right.
They're
Why are they
chronic.
so red? They're surely just for the gym or something, although, are they?
No, they're for the catwalk. Yeah, I was maybe they were for the gym or like, like walking home from the gym or like if I need to I need some just like trainers that don't smell, from the gym. So I would keep them away from the gym.
Yeah, because they're definitely not fashion shoes.
Because daddy do be putting up a little bit of sweat,
Oh, Jesus Christ.
How
How sweaty do you get if your feet stink in the gym? What are you doing? Like,
I had to be cardio and shit, like obviously running, like, and I probably wear them too much anyway. Like,
do you
I
do
have a
more
pair of
running
shoes.
or do you do more resistance?
I do no run it. Like I'll always start with treadmill. I'll warm up on the treadmill.
For how long?
Like 10, 15 minutes, 20 minutes max.
Do you run then on the treadmill?
Not like flat out, but like enough to start sweating.
Oh, I see. You should probably tone back that warm up.
Well, no, you literally just getting back into the discipline of gymming because I've gone like 4 times this week and I had before
Nice.
that went about once in the last month. So I'm just trying this is more of a mental building resilience, than a
Getting into the habit of
incorporating that
actually
into my
going
training.
again and being like, oh
Yeah,
yeah.
and,
Like, yeah, when I fall out of the gym,
making my body sweat and stuff.
I'll just go. And like if I'm really like at this when I like say now if I fall out for like 2 weeks and then I start going again, I just make sure I get there. And then if I'm really tired, I'll just do like a set of each exercise.
Yeah.
And I won't even go to failure. I'll just do a set just to be like, all right,
The
we're here.
discipline of doing it.
We're moving,
Yeah.
we're doing it.
Yeah.
Fuck yeah.
Literally, exactly. So
what's
that's
your
kinda what it
workout plan?
is.
What do you actually do? You don't have a plan, do you?
Yesterday, no, I do I don't have necessarily I haven't written down all my sets or whatever, but I'll be like,
Come on,
I'm gonna
man.
hit chest and triceps, and then I'll do whatever back and biceps, and then I'll do legs. But yeah, and I'll come up with a more proper plan. But
Did you follow the one I sent you?
no, I actually haven't done that yet. No, I didn't know what any of them, half of them meant anyway.
Oh, right. Oh, I'm sorry. I can send you videos on how to do them.
Videos would be good, actually. That actually would be excellent.
I'll teach you my ways because I'm so fucking dench.
Because you're dench.
Yeah, because I'm such a beast.
Fucking Judy dench.
Judy dench up in this bitch.
But no, I'm just kind of getting back into it, and I'm actually loving it. I'm enjoying it. I like the discipline of it, and I like going for a little shower afterwards. That's just fun. I like
You go for a
walking out of
shower
gym
after the gym
feeling
in the
clean.
gym.
Yeah, it's actually nice. I love. This is part of why I like to be a musician touring the world because I love a wash bag. I have an absolute kink for wash bags. Like I love having a kitted out, like everything in my little wash bag and just put it.
Oh, really? What?
Oh, it's so nice. I don't know why it's so satisfying.
Funny, yeah, you love that. That's weird.
You just have all my toilet.
It's not weird. It's random. What's in your wash? Tell everybody what's in your wash bag.
And then I go grab it. No, and yesterday I bought some new face washes and shampoos. And
Ooh,
you know what I mean? Luke, so make sure 2 for 1 on the old moisturizer as well. So I'm looking about 10 years younger. Sorry, this cat. What's in my wash bag? Other than that, I have some shaving foam, opioids, and no hair gel and fucking shower gel and toothbrush, toothpaste. That stuff. I just love it though. I don't know why. I just get such a little buzz out of unpacking my little wash bag and then doing it all in sequence. Oh yes.
Fair play to you.
Thank you.
Love that
Do you have
for
any
you.
opinions on wash bag? No,
I don't really. No, I don't care much for a wash bag because I don't have a shower in the gym. I don't want to wash. I don't want to have a shower.
Like to go home,
I like to go home and have a shower.
I know, but I love walking out of there.
And
I'll fresh. And
I'll have a shower.
Something else,
Yeah. I usually have a shower before I go to the gym.
All right.
I'll have a shower.
So you're doing a lot of weights, so you're not sweating the fuck out of it.
Yeah. Well, when you're pushing to failure, you'd be sweating balls. Usually when it's upper body, which is what is it, Mondays and Tuesdays and Thursdays and Fridays. Usually it's when it's upper body, it's not crazy. It is, in fact, with the back stuff, it does get intense, but it's usually when I'm doing legs. and
Yeah.
lower body is when I start sweating balls because
Yeah.
it's so fucking hard. Even though I'm not even lifting heavy weights, I'm just obviously my legs, they look big, but they obviously don't have any fucking strength in them.
No, but they're compound exercises as well.
Yeah, fucks
Leg
me up.
ones, you're using up a lot more energy than you would be just doing your shoulders or something like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, man.
Like there's a lot more involved doing squats, like your abs and your back and all that get involved as well.
And I do a lot of stretches as well on leg day after I'm done.
There you go.
That's my day to like it's really leg mobility.
Yeah.
Because will you change your camera because it looks like you've no body?
Oh, sorry.
Move your
Shut
camera
me a
down a bit. It's just like a head.
I don't know why I'm being really. In general, I was just like in my wife beater drinking like 5 different drinks of like coffee, ginger shot, and water.
Ooh. Oh. Loser.
Yeah, I'm
All
just
right.
trying to invest in my health, but I have
know,
some questions for you.
Yeah, please.
As we actually prepared for this podcast, believe it or believe it, nay.
And also, I want to just say that we're going to start doing the podcast every 2 weeks because Colin resisted that idea a couple of weeks ago when we did it. And then we have naturally fallen into a 2-week stint because he won't listen. And I'm saying it's actually better if we, for now, do every 2 weeks because we're not consistent with every week.
Well, what I think is funny is like by naturally falling into it, we just haven't done it. You know what I mean? It's not like there was any discussion. It was just like, not doing the pod. So bye.
It's because it's hard. Some weeks it's hard to find the time to do it. And
I do agree.
I have been, since I got back to Ireland, my work ethic has dipped significantly, but in a good positive way. So I have just not been like bothered with really pushing hard in anything except for hanging out with my friends.
Well, these are loyal listeners that we have, and hopefully they're new listeners as well. But they understand, they're people as well.
In fairness, you've all been pretty
some of them are
pretty chill. We did get a comment on the YouTube channel from what's her name? Can't remember. She was like, "Why is the camera so zoomed in?"
Someone say that. That's so
funny.
Yeah.
I mean, you need to look at the YouTube. I can't be fucking looking at the thing the whole time. Like,
well, what else are you doing? Let's see here now.
I'm trying to fucking edit videos for all these clients that are fucking.
Who are you? I'm Ronnie Pickering. That's the thing just came up. Do you remember that video?
No.
Is this Apocalypse Runway? Oh. What a great title, man. I'm just smashing it.
Oh, yeah. Janice Wilson, if you're listening. She was like, love the podcast. Would be a little better if the camera wasn't so close to y'all, though.
Thanks, Jan.
So I think
fair play, Janice. Thank you.
We like the feedback. So for the next video that is done in England, we'll pull the camera a little bit back, like,
Yeah.
My thinking was I just didn't want loads of the room in the video because we are only doing one camera, and it's hard to get the focus on 2 people with one camera without actually getting distracted by the composition of everything around them.
There you go.
And we don't really set up the shit around us, like that's later down the road because we're just doing it in a fucking sitting room, like.
Exactly. I suppose the ideal would be 2 Zoom individual shots and then a very wide.
That fucking takes ages.
I agree. Come on. What do you expect from us? What was her name again?
Janice. Jesus Christ.
Janice.
Do you think we are professionals?
I'm genuinely so glad you listened to the episode, Janice. Genuinely. Thank you. And you know what? When it's like legitimate feedback like that, she's not like a robot.
That's Janice, nice the robot. She's a language model.
Yeah.
It's just someone's trolling us with all their bots. Our podcast is shit.
I'm happy with that now.
All right. Questions. What questions you've got for me? Tell me now, you cunt.
Yeah, sorry, we're rambling a small bit there now. I was kind of thought we could have an interesting conversation. I was sitting in bed last night. I was thinking about Ian.
Ah, nice. You wouldn't be the only
and I
one.
was damn right, absolutely. And I was like, this. Do you know what I'm actually going to do? I'm going to read out the text that I sent you at 12:38 last night. Okay,
All right.
have a think about this in the morning. A piece of art, e.g., a movie, show, or music that made an impact on your life. Why did you love it? Do you have any piece of oh no, it's kind of a two-parter. Will I just do the whole thing? Do you have any piece of music or movie that reminds you of a period in your life? Favorite movie when you were a kid? Favorite 90s/2000s cartoon? These are all different questions, but let's start with one. A piece of art, e.g., movie, show, or music that made an impact on your life. Why did it make an impact on your life, do you feel? And do you have one first?
Yeah, this was actually because I was thinking about it. I saw your text this morning and I was trying to think about it. And in fairness, it's kind of difficult to pinpoint certain pieces of art or music or whatever that you remember. And then as I was diving into it, I was like, oh my fucking God. Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah,
Oh
it
yeah.
brings up
Definitely
loads of different stuff.
loads of stuff. Definitely the biggest one, I'd say. I wouldn't say the biggest one that's had the impact, but the one that has stuck with me since it came out. In my recent, I suppose in my mid 20s was Queens of Stone Age, Like Clockwork.
Nice.
That album, and I think everyone who knows me knows I fuck with that album.
You stand.
I fucking stand. That album is a masterpiece, and I think it's just like when it came out, I remember just sitting in my room with headphones on, listening to the whole thing, and it was just so well produced. And I find it's a very like lonely album.
Yes.
It's a very like kind of, I wouldn't say sad and lonely, but like there's a lot of emotions that go through that album, and it seems to like kind of like a kind of lonely lone wolf album. Do you know what I mean? Like kind of angry at the world, a little bit annoyed, kind of fucked a lot of V. I'm fucking pissed off, and it's kind of you're not doing it for me.
That's exactly the purpose behind writing the thing.
Yeah. So that album, when it first came out at the time in my life, kind of really resonated with me. And I was taking like the anger,
Monster.
like the kind of bitterness. Yeah, the bitterness. Honestly, like the bitterness from that album kind of is what I was feeling like at the time, which was fucking, I don't know how long, 10 years ago now or something when that album came out.
Yeah.
And I was just obsessed with it. And then as like the years have gone by, it's every time I listen to it when I'm going through something else in my life that I'm feeling a general emotion in my life at the time, it suits it.
Yeah.
It just always matches. There's always a new emotion I find in one of the songs that matches what I'm feeling in my life. You know,
That's
it like covers
art.
everything. It's so unreal. And I can't stress to anyone enough. Please listen to that entire album, start to finish. Don't just go listening to one song, because it needs to be the whole album, or else you won't get what the whole thing is about. With headphones on, and just go through it. The lyrics are phenomenal.
Well, Josh Homme was like in hospital when he wrote that, wasn't he?
Yeah, he was. Yeah,
Like,
he was fucked up.
Not in his deathbed, but he was like very, very ill. And that's kind of, I guess, what he was feeling at the time of like where they were as a band and where he was as a person, and maybe feeling like that he didn't have the support that he thought he deserved, I guess. Like he has that fair weather friend or whatever. Like,
Yeah,
obviously people that are around when the band are doing well or whatever, but then he's in hospital from just complete burnout. And I can't remember what he had. He had something nuts, like meningitis or something crazy, where he was like very, very ill. Imagine like just fucking nuts writing a fucking masterpiece.
a masterpiece in hospital.
In a hospital bed, like, yeah.
But that's why it's amazing, because you can hear and feel all those emotions he was feeling. Like that's fucking amazing art. You know,
genuine.
like as you listen to it, you can really hear all the like pain and bitterness and angerness and getting over it feelings, to get like getting past it, being like, all right, look, fucking this is all right, go fuck yourselves, let's do it. I'm a king, I can do this shit, like. And like the music as well, the band, like the arrangements are fucking incredible. Definitely Queens of Stone Age best ever album by miles, in my opinion.
Oof.
Yeah.
Oof.
in my opinion,
controversial.
anyway.
That is very controversial.
I
It's
love
very
them all, but that album just has from start to finish banger after banger. Every song is fucking incredible. There's no filler, like, you know. None of the
Middle Eight,
songs. Go on.
Middle Eight do a brilliant piece on that album and Sounds of the Deaf as well, and
Oh
sort
yeah,
of go through it track by track and talk about like thematically and how he wrote it and like musical things that come up in it. They're brilliant, like music journalist.
Middle Eight.
Middle Age, yeah, they do.
I
But they
fucking
do
hit that
loads
shit
of
up.
like extensive videos on just general fucking music. Like they'll take an album and dissect it and why it was written, how it was written, you know, how it was produced, all that stuff. And then it's all catchy and nice looking and 12, 13 minute long things. And yeah, they'll talk about albums and how they influence the culture or whatever. They did a really good one on Californication, like the album by Red Hot Chili Peppers, and generally like what it was describing and talking about the history of California and all that stuff. But yeah, I would recommend them even if you're not a music fan, to be honest. They're just really well put together, talking about the culture and how things are put together.
I love that.
Would you have on that? What a question, follow up. Who am I? Lorraine Kelly? What's going on here? Do you have any movies, like, say, that have a significant, you know, influence on you, or like a movie that you saw that like described a certain time for you, or like sums up a certain time for you, or like
yeah, I actually have
kids movie, or even like something from later on or whatever.
Like, as I was thinking about it, I was like, I don't have anything, and then it just fucking loads of them started flooding back into my memory. And like I only wrote down a few of them, but I have so many more. Like, it's actually, I was just thinking about it and I was like, this is fucked up. I actually really, you know, attach a lot of emotions to books and films and music and stuff, which I suppose a lot of people do. Like, like for books, I remember reading the Harry Potter books.
Yeah.
When I was younger, when they first came out. And my parents had like just split up.
Mm-hmm.
So like my dad was living in this house I'm living in now, and me, my mom, and my sisters and stuff were living in like different place in Glanmire and Knockgrahan and stuff. And I remember I used to like, and it was like winter as well, and I used to come up to my dad's house and just like, and he'd no like internet or TV or anything like that, so it was like a real isolation vibe when you came up here. And I remember just like coming up, sitting in this house and just reading the Harry Potter books for weeks, just on my own, just reading them and just being like completely disassociated from
reality,
everything that was going on in my life, and just reading those books the whole time. And it was like, it was a real, like, it was proper escapism. And then kind of getting sad because when you're reading them and you're so into them, all you want is, at that time, obviously at that age, all you want is them to be real.
Yeah.
You know, you just want them to be real. And then you get sad because they're not real. And you're like, oh, fuck's sake. I want them to be, you know, you're like, my life is not Harry Potter. Like, but those books were incredible. And my sister read them as well. And so did my friend Jamie. So we were all just obsessed with the books and stuff, going through everything. Yeah. And then when the movies came out, we just obviously fucking latched onto them, and we were like latched onto the Harry Potter world for years. And it was just such a important part of my childhood, was reading and listening and going to the first ever Harry Potter film down in like a cinema. There was a cinema in Blackpool. I don't know if you remember it.
Oh yeah.
Years and years ago, but I went there with my aunt and my cousin, and like the whole cinema was decked out in Harry Potter paraphernalia.
Wow, class.
Like everything was Harry Potter. Like there was these big massive like cardboard cutouts of Hogwarts and stuff like that. And like you could buy loads of cups and shit. And like it was fucking,
they went all out back
Harry Potter mania in there. And I remember going into that cinema, and it was like a really old, lovely cinema with like lovely red carpets and everything. And it was during Christmas.
Oh,
so like, it was just like an insane experience going into cinema and coming out just filled with like hope. Just, you know, like really, like, you know, when you're younger and you see a film in cinema and you come out and you're like, that's me, I'm the character. and you're like fucking
totally like
you're hyped up on the character and the story.
Yeah.
And then you just come out, and it was just such a mad experience seeing the first Harry Potter in the cinema. That they were like fucking going, like, you go to cinema now, it's kind of cold and calculated. They're like,
Yeah.
take your ticket, get your popcorn, get the fuck in there. Back then it was like an
people were,
experience.
excited
Like it
about
was,
it,
the cinema was fucking packed to the rafters. It was really classical cinema with carpet everywhere, fucking fairy lights all over the shop. It was mad.
That's fucking class.
So it was
That is
deadly.
actually sick.
Yeah. So those, when it comes to Harry Potter, fond memories of
Nice.
those moments. I have a
definitely
shit ton more.
Sure. Well, keep going there, but I definitely remember like that when the Order of the Phoenix in particular came out, like people waiting outside the bookshop in Clarny and like people camping out in Tralee for like the Harry Potter book, which is nuts. Like, it's not something people do in fucking Kerry. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I remember when people used to queue up for tickets outside Merchant's Quay in Cork.
Yeah.
Whenever there'd be like some big gig on in the O2 or whatever, they'd have a Ticketmaster, or not the O2. I guess it was called the Pint back then. You know,
The Pint.
The Pint Depot.
Point Depot. Yeah.
But that was like, I definitely remember culturally, like people queuing up for like a book. I was like, that's really strange, you know? And
Yeah.
like kids going nuts and like swarming the shop like when it opened and stuff. And it was just absolute mania for it. Like, it really was. I think that was the first like thing of mania I had seen, you know? I think that was the real like mania thing for our generation, and even like, you know, 7 or 8 years either side of us.
Yeah.
That was the thing, was the longevity of it, because obviously the films came out over a 10 to fucking 12-year period, like.
Yeah.
But it was like seriously drawn out from when the first book came out in like
I
early
can't remember when
2000s.
I can't remember when it came out.
Well,
Does that happen anymore? Not with books.
Not with books.
Surely not. Like, yeah, like
think that
people
was-
were obsessed, like queuing up to get. My dad had to queue up to get the first book, like.
Yeah.
You know.
I think it was like,
Oh no, it wasn't the first book. It was my dad queued up to get the third one. I remember, or maybe the fourth. I remember it was my granny who gave me and Rona and Aoife the first 3 books for Christmas. And I was like, fucking
book
bitch, give me books
for Christmas.
for Christmas. And it was probably the greatest present I've
Changed
ever
your
got in my
life,
life
like,
since then. Yeah.
Wild, man. Fucking wild.
Thanks, Nan.
Thanks, Nan.
Pour
Rip.
a drink out for her. Yeah, fair play to you.
Here, I'll pour out some of my ginger shot
Yeah,
there.
all over my laptop.
Yeah. And that's episode 40. ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah.
Podcast now cancelled because Colin can't afford a new laptop. Give me another film, so then we'll move on. I'm sick of hearing you talk.
Sick of me hearing me talk.
Sick of hearing you talk on a podcast.
I suppose the Lord of the Rings movies definitely, and a lot of people can relate to this though. If you've watched the original Lord of the Rings movies by Peter Jackson, and you watch them all in a row, it's a monumental experience. It is incredible. And we used to like, me, my sister, and my friend Jamie, when we were kids, like when it first came out, we'd stay up all night trying to watch all the films. Like, we'd watch all the extended cuts, and it would literally take, like, it would be like bright in the morning, and we'd be fucking wrecked. Like, but it was unbelievable. You were obsessed with it. And I used to love, I still love it. I kind of think that's where I've gotten my love for like films and filmmaking and just like cinematography and stuff like that. I used to be obsessed with watching the bonus extras that would come on the DVD.
Sure. Like,
you know, I used to watch the same as all the Harry Potter DVDs and stuff. I used to spend so much time just going through all the like BTS footage, all the interviews with everyone, how they did it and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So with Lord of the Rings, that was a big part of it, of just like watching like the grandioseness of like shooting an epic film like that, like hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of actors all dressed as orcs and as little visual effects as they could, you know, as much practical stuff as they possibly could to make it look real. It was fucking wild, like, and just living in another country for like 4 years of their lives, creating art,
putting together a thing,
together that shit like the whole time.
I feel like that was the last of that, you know, and like it was a very short-lived time. Like obviously, like say in the 50s and 60s and stuff, they used to do massive elaborate set pieces, and even like go back to the 40s in Hollywood, like when they were first setting up, they used to do like full-blown wars and people would actually die. You
Yeah.
know? But like I feel like the 90s and early 2000s was the last time we'll see like full-scale shit like that, you know?
Yeah. It's just
Although
like
no, I don't know if they do it in some war movies now, but like
some
definitely a lot
directors get
more
it. Some
mixed in.
directors, yeah, some directors like want they will request, or like they'll be like, look, we have most, like Christopher Nolan is a good example. And Denis Villeneuve with Dune is a good example of like
Yeah.
big set pieces trying to keep CGI to a minimum, or
Yeah.
using kind of new kind of techniques to not make it look shit CGI.
Sure.
I think it's just different now because sadly, Marvel and superhero movies have just taken over the world, and
Yeah.
like I'm not really a Marvel fan at all. Like as in I loved Iron Man when that first came out because it was new and it was unbelievable. It was great. I love the first two Spider-Mans with Tobey Maguire. They're fucking classics, and you can't say anything about that.
Yeah.
But the abuse that Marvel is putting on the world by every 10 minutes releasing a Marvel movie is so fatiguing, and they're all the same. And it's just sad because when I watch Marvel movies now, not even because I'm just like, all right, this is a boring story, it's the same shit, and it's just boring CGI that doesn't have any emotion to it. When I watch it now, I'm sad because the more shitty Marvel movies that are coming out, the less amazing movies get funding. You know,
Well,
they're not
they've
able to slip through the cracks, like, because they're not getting funding. Do you know what I mean? As in, Marvel movies they're not cinema, like they're not films. They're like fucking sweets.
They've gone too far now anyway.
Yeah. You know, you go in and it's like everything's so like, everything's so colorful, and there's like, they throw fucking comedy in there as well. And it's like, when's the last time you saw a good comedy film in the cinema?
Sure.
Because
Actually,
you don't need, because no one's going to fund a comedy film when you can just fund a Marvel superhero movie with a bit of comedy in it.
Yeah.
And they'll make way more, like.
True.
And it's just so fatiguing.
Yeah, like I mean, definitely got into the hype of, you know, Avengers Endgame, all that crack, but like after that I just feel like they're just ramming shit down people's throat, and like the quality has definitely gone down, you know.
Yeah.
And it's like I just feel like there's a time, and that was definitely a peak, and then they just like immediately went back into it. I know they have like their phases and all that shit, and people were really excited about that, but like I don't know. I haven't had any interest since then. Like I didn't watch Thor. I didn't watch the new, like Stephen the last day was watching Guardians of the Galaxy, the new one. And I was just like, you know what? I'd rather do some work.
Yeah, I'd rather do something else.
I'd rather send an email than watch it. But
the first Thor is good. The first of them was enjoyable. The first
second
of those
Thor
movies
was decent.
Yeah, like they're grand. Like the Thor movies are grand crack. But like, it's just, even then you're kind of like, fucking hell, would you just shut the fuck up? Like,
yeah,
it's just like, I suppose, like, he's a good director. Taika Waititi, is that his name?
Taika Waititi.
Taika Waititi.
No, Taika.
Like, he's a good director because
Taika Waititi.
He's a good director because he's good at comedy, because he's actually a fucking comedian himself. You know what I mean? He's a fantastic writer.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. But like, just the frequency of them. So there's so many of them, and the shitty CGI. Like this, it's all CGI. Like, when you look at the behind the scenes, it's just green screen. There's no life.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean?
No.
It's not cinema. It's not film. It's just fucking some sort of. It's like sweets. That's what I think when I watch when I watch Marvel movies now. They're just candy.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean?
AI.
It's just like a sugar high.
AI candy.
AI candy. And like, I suppose I just love slower movies, you know. Well, that's just my flavor. Like, I just like slower, more epic, emotional, darker films.
Sure.
You know,
like what?
so like, Dune would be a good example. Blade Runner.
Dune will be great.
2040.
The second one as well.
The most recent Blade Runner with
Did you like that?
I fucking loved that film.
With Rai Goose Goose.
Right, Goose Goose, yeah. It's a fucking serious movie. Unbelievable scenes, Jeff.
Serious, but
obviously all the Lord of the Rings movies, they were incredible. Slow, really like 16-hour long movies.
that's a bit too slow for me now.
Inception is incredible. That's probably one of my faves. Sicario.
I haven't seen that.
Have you ever seen Sicario?
I need to see both of them.
You haven't seen Sicario or Inception?
No.
You should watch Sicario.
I'm not a huge Nolan nut.
No, Sicario's not a Nolan film.
I know that's where your man Villeneuve as well.
Yeah. Sicario 2 is incredible as well.
Yes.
Both of those films, Sicario is just fucking like the tone in that film.
Yeah.
Is just so bleak. It's incredible.
It's a great cast. They're all good anyway.
Yeah.
The Del Toro boy, John Bernthal. He's a real one. He's a real one. We should go on his podcast actually.
Whose podcast?
John Bernthal.
What do you have us on? For what reason? What do we know?
Because we're fucking class. I don't know.
How did we get onto adventures anyway? How did we get onto the
like action movies and stuff?
Yeah.
I don't know, because you just fucking go on these massive tangents and we all just go on for the ride.
So sorry.
I wanted to ask you, and feel free to ask me a question at any point. I wanted to ask you about what's your favorite like cartoon from when you were a kid, like 90s/2000s cartoon, or I suppose like 70s cartoon for you. You're
There's
an old
a few,
bitch.
I'd say. You old bitch. 70s? Come on now, man. There's a load of them. I used to love watching Recess. Do you remember Recess?
So good.
That was fucking flawless. Watching Recess when you're sick from school. What else was great? I used to watch Totally Spies with my sisters. Do you remember that?
That one I don't remember as much. I was more of a Kim Possible.
Yeah, Kim Possible as well. It would be on the same time on fucking Cartoon Network or whatever the fuck it was. Kim Possible was a classic with the little naked mole rat. I always remember the episode of
him a
bunch. Yeah, he really seems to come up. He's really on our minds the whole time. That sexy little naked mole rat. Well, yeah, I always remember that episode of when they go to the old camp. And then there's like the green monster in it.
Okay.
Remember that episode?
Not really.
It's just, I don't know why that's always stuck in my head ever and ever and ever.
I never forget.
What else? I'm trying to remember. Like, obviously all the classics like Johnny Bravo and all that shit that would just be on.
Yeah.
Which ones really had an impact? We used to love, what was it? Foster's Homes for Imaginary Friends.
Oh yeah,
remember that? That was hilarious.
They're all like monsters and stuff.
We loved that because, and we were probably a bit older when that was on. I was probably like 16, 17 when that he was playing.
That's the funny thing is like sometimes you're like, am I too old to be watching?
Am I too old? Yeah, no, never too old. I used to love that because it was kind of neurotic.
Some of them were crazy, man. Like Cartoon Network went on a like Coward or was it? What was his name? Something
the Cowardly Dog. I never liked those animations.
Courage, the Cowardly Dog.
Yeah, I hated those animations.
So creepy, man.
They were scary, just too creepy. Yeah. Or Ren and Stimpy, or whatever the fuck it was called.
Ren and Stimpy. I'll tell you one.
That shit.
The one that like I loved, but it wasn't like a cartoon, was Ned's Declassified School Survival Guide.
Oh
like, they have
my god!
They have a podcast out
that.
now.
Do they?
That was my favorite. Yeah.
What?
So the three main folk have a podcast out now where they're like going through the old episodes and stuff.
No way.
I haven't seen it.
Sick.
I saw Ned on a podcast. He was just talking about. Because I just think that's an interesting world, like the child acting thing and like how they get paid and all that stuff. Like he gets no residuals.
Oh.
Because he's like a principal actor or whatever. So he never he got like good money, but then like never saw anything else from it. Same with like Drake and Josh, all them things. But is that Nickelodeon? Yeah, it was. But
it
anyway,
was, yeah, they were on Nickelodeon.
Ned's was fucking great.
That comedy and that was
so
phenomenal.
Off the wall as well. Yeah, that's what they were kind of making the point. They were like, it was kind of more like cartoony than you know, a lot of them were sort of like a bit jokey, but more based in reality. Like they just went nuts. Like,
Yeah.
you know, like
And they
that
had some
science teacher was a legitimate evil scientist and stuff like that.
and they had some adult humor in there as well that you didn't really catch.
Yeah.
So some of it was a bit like Jesus. When you watch back now, you're like, oh, I see what they meant there.
Yeah. I
Or
think it's
iCarly was good crack.
iCarly. I was
I
yeah, like I feel like because I had like 4 channels, I feel like iCarly came to like RTE2 when it was too late for me. It was just too
Yeah,
late.
well, we'd Sky Digital, you know, it was a Celtic Tiger, so
Celtic Tiger, love it.
yeah,
Um,
couldn't afford anything else except we had to pay for the Sky.
no heating,
No
but
heating, but we have Sky Digital anyway.
yeah, digital. Yeah,
Another
it's a
bill
power.
goes
That's a power
unpaid.
move.
Yeah,
That is a power
that's
move.
a notiony. That's ghetto snobs right there.
Ghetto snobbery.
Absolutely
Well, no, I
broke.
feel like yeah, people like will invest in TV or like you know get dodgy boxes or whatever. Like,
Yeah,
um, just my parents would have no use for it. It's too much choice for them. I think maybe. No
yeah.
offense, mom and dad. I
My
think they're
mom had
like
fucking notions.
minimalists.
My mom just taught. My mom would be like, well, they have it, and it
Sure,
would make
and
her
probably
feel.
just
It
trying
would, yeah,
to
it would make her feel insecure.
distract
So
you.
then she'd have it like.
Yeah, but probably just wanting to like, if I have more channels, they'll leave me alone more.
No, that definitely wasn't it. Don't you worry about that. She would never think about us at all.
No, but as in just
We would
like,
never come into her
as in
brain. That
you
wouldn't
guys
even
would
be
leave
a.
her alone.
That wouldn't even be. Like she wouldn't even comprehend that. Trauma dump.
Trauma dump.
Anyway,
Episode 41 is just dump.
episode 41, mate. All right. So give us a piece, your time to shine. And we'll go back to me then after that once you're done. We could do a two fucking 4 hour podcast on going back and forth of music and shit that affected us. Give us a movie. All right, we'll start with music.
Yeah.
Give me some pieces of music, some albums, whatever singles that start from when you were the youngest and then go through that really had a massive impact on you, and some that still do.
I don't really
why?
like music
And why?
that much, so no. I think probably. Well, actually, funnily enough, the first single I ever bought was "Bad Day" by Daniel Powter.
Nice.
And I think that's when I still have this trend with music where like if I find a song that I like, I'll listen to it like 700 times.
Yeah.
And so I would do that a lot. Like there was records and albums, like because like I mean, really was back then like whatever you had was what you like watched, unless you
Yeah.
had like
What you
so
liked.
say like a movie that you videotaped or a movie that you happened to get the videotape for, you know, and that would be just your movie. That would be the thing you watched like a million times. And same with albums. So like I'm not even that big of a Green Day fan, but I definitely have listened to American Idiot like a solid 700 to 800 times, 100% the whole album back and forth. Like, and same with like, I remember Busted. I think it might have been the one about the teacher. Is that one what I go to school for? Is that Busted or is that
what I
McFly?
go to school for?
That's definitely Busted.
Miss McKenzie.
Miss Mackenzie, yeah.
I don't know what the fuck it is.
I think that one, and then there was definitely like a B-side to that single. But those are the ones that like stick out in my head as in I had them in my Walkman. And also actually definitely clear memories of like listening to I Miss You by Blink-182 all the way from Cork to Kerry on the train. Like literally that's just it would just
yeah, geez, I remember
for
obsessed
full
with
2 hours.
Blink-182 as well. I miss you, I miss Doom Doom Boom. Fucking American Idiot and all those albums as well. Yeah, they were obviously there. We all shared that childhood.
But it was like pop. That was the golden pop punk era where it was more pop than punk, like because that's just what was in the charts. And then obviously like the album that I feel like I claimed for myself when I had more like consciousness of music was like the second Arctic Monkeys one, because I went and like intentionally bought that. You know, the other ones were just like, oh, I think this is cool or whatever. Like somebody, or I heard on the radio or whatever. Like, you know, like obviously American Idiot was in the radio, so I was like, oh, and I listened to all of it. But like, consciously, like I want this album was Favorite Worst Nightmare. Probably would have been like, I don't even know, maybe like 13, something like that. It's when you gain sentience, you know.
It's when you start kind of understanding what you actually like.
What do I like here? Yeah, so I do remember that, getting that album and being like, this is fucking class. It was like the paperback. It was the first, I think, like paperback album I bought as well. Ironically, or not ironically, just strangely that I remember that, but it was, I remember it being specifically like the feel of it and everything, you know. But yeah, I mean, music used to, I don't want to be one of these guys like back in my day, but like music used to be very like cathartic, you know, like a very more physical experience. Like I knew who like produced that album, and I knew who recorded it. I knew where it was mixed, and all that shit was on the album. So I looked into it, you know.
I suppose
it's just funny that that's not there anymore.
It's not there anymore because, and not that it's a very bad thing. Like, you know, it's easier now for people to get discovered and stuff, and you can really appeal to a much wider audience than you could before. But I suppose with albums and stuff before is because you couldn't just go and listen to a million songs in one day.
No, you had to,
if
like,
you had an
you
album,
had the album.
You had the album and you'd listen to the album over and over again, and then you'd have nothing to do. So you'd read all the fucking artwork on the album and all what it says on the album, and you'd read all about the people on the album, and you know, like you just have nothing else. You can't consume any other album or any other music because you just have to
unless you
consume
turn on the radio.
Yeah, and the radio was shit. Like, it still is shit. So like, yeah, you just go through the album artwork and read all the shit and just listen to it over and over again. I remember one of the first albums I got was, first album I think given to me was Craig David, Born to Do It.
I always find that so funny.
Isn't that so funny? Yeah. That was one of the first kind of albums that was given to me. It was during Christmas, and I was
what was on that? Fill Me In?
Yeah, Fill Me In. No, what was it? Fill Me In? It was 7 Days. Monday.
Fill Me In was later, wasn't it?
Fill Me In was Can You Fill Me In? I think it might have been before. That was with Darfur Dodger, I think. Maybe Fill Me In was on that album, and 7 Days and all those ones and
track
stuff.
One. Rewind, Once in a Lifetime. Okay, can you name, I want you to try and name 5 tracks off the album.
Ooh, Jesus.
Obviously, you already have 2 there.
So Fill Me In, 7 Days.
Yeah.
You already said Rewind, so I can't really say Rewind.
You can have it.
I can have it. Oh my God. So long ago.
What's an iconic one? Actually, this is one of his most streamed ones I'm seeing here now.
It is the best album he ever made, and he has another like fucking 20.
Yeah.
He's incredible amount of music. 7 Days.
Something to do with leaving a situation, you know, from all the troubles in his life.
Obviously,
I'm walking away
from the troubles in my life. I'm walking away someday. Oh, to find a better day.
I think it's funny. The fucking randomness of this album is ridiculous. It's like walking away, time to party, booty man.
What a fucking album. It was incredible. I remember the day.
Belters only.
I think my mom went to London with her friend or something, and they brought me that album back. And I remember them walking into the sitting room, and I was actually playing The Getaway on PS2. Do you remember The Getaway?
The driving game, yeah.
Yeah. No, it wasn't The Getaway. It was like an English gangster game. Was it The Getaway? It was The Getaway. Yeah.
What the fuck that was.
Do you remember that game? And I remember coming in, and I just threw it on, and I was like, "Oh my fucking God, what is this?"
Wow.
Yeah, it was incredible. I loved it. And then the second album, not the second album, but the first album I ever bought myself was The Streets. A Grand Don't Come for Free. When I was like 14.
That's our musical approach.
Yeah, so weird.
You're pure drum and bass. I am pop punk.
I remember I was down in Kerry, and I was a goth at the time as well. So I was wearing all like black jeans and fucking moody and depressed and really sad all the time.
And listening to The Streets.
And we were in holidays down in Kerry, and I went into a shop and I saw The Streets album, and I was like, oh, I'm going to buy that right now. And then we listened to The Streets. I made them all listen to The Streets in the car for the whole holiday. And my mom hated it. He's just talking. He's not even
Yeah.
singing, yeah. And I was so like, oh God.
You don't get it, Mom.
You don't get it, mother. A grand really doesn't come for free.
But that's a big moment in any kid's life or teen is when like you get to pick what goes on the radio. Like I just remember like especially what we were talking about earlier, those Now CDs. Like when we started getting those, like it was game over. Like, you know, the Dubliners were out.
Yeah.
The Clancy brothers were out.
Fuck them all. All right, so you just give me music that you've gotten and when you started getting music. What music is attached to memories and emotions? Say it's with another person or it's a period of your life.
Yeah, definitely.
Doesn't matter.
Like,
it doesn't have to be like early, like.
well, or yeah, I'll give you the old categories, like, you know,
Be vulnerable, brother.
Be vulnerable. No, like I would say like definitely like I was saying there, the Dubliners, Irish ballads stuff, like that was definitely like all my, like we didn't do summer holidays. We went on holidays in October because my dad's a workaholic and fish don't sell well in October.
Yeah.
And so we would always just
I'm
like,
busy, I'm
yeah,
busy.
we would drive around Ireland to things that were closed, you know, like, oh, there's a maze in Glendalough in Wicklow. It's closed. It's fucking October. Obviously, there's no one here. So it would just be like driving from the guest house to like closed tourist attractions, listening to the Dubliners and Clancy Brothers, you know?
Yeah.
That was the whole experience, and just like rocking up to like mazes and like spud farms. I don't know, like just fucking random
Spud
things.
farms.
Aquariums, like where they were closed as well for some reason. Like it was just very annoying. But I remember like going to Mayo to there's like a big like holiday resort kind of thing in Mayo. The whole thing was closed. Completely closed and looked amazing. It was like the coolest thing I've ever seen. And it was just dead because obviously it was completely closed, you know. I don't know what the fuck they call it. Westport. Sorry.
Westport. Ah, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Did you not bother ringing them before going?
No, they wouldn't do anything like that. There was minimal planning. Like you would print off the directions on the AA website. That was like the new tech revolution.
Yeah.
Before that was maps, you know, like literal maps. And just my parents roaring at each other because they're lost, obviously. Because there's no GPS and you're driving down dirt roads. But yeah, that was like early memories. I knew all the songs. I definitely like remember like learning all the lyrics just from like hearing it, you know. And then I suppose, yeah, like house music as well. Like definitely like Dead Mouse signifies like, you know, coming of age, 17, 18.
That was a very specific time.
Yeah. So like we were, me and all my friends were into, naturally you start fucking taking drugs at the same time. So there's a bit of a correlation, you know.
Dead Mouse really took over Ireland during that time.
We
were
massive.
all obsessed.
Like around, I think like 2010, 11, 12 was like, because I remember like that was like the golden era of Tomorrowland and everyone wanted to go to Tomorrowland.
Yeah.
And like, it was actually, my mum said I could go when I was like 17, which was nuts, but I was actually too much of a pussy because like it was a strict 18 thing. And I was like, I'm not flying to Belgium with my fake ID on the off chance that I'll get turned away, you know?
Yeah.
But it was funny. We actually were planning on doing it. Then I'm trying to think any other things, any other signifiable music. There was like one, do you remember like the Sunday paper would give away like classic Motown?
Yeah, I do remember
CDs.
that. Yeah.
I do remember there was one like 70s Motown thing, and there was some random tunes in that. Like You to Me Are Everything. But then it turns out they were from fucking Liverpool.
You to me are
Like,
everything, the sweetest song that I could sing.
The sweetest
song
baby. I could sing, oh, baby. What are they called again?
Oh, baby.
Oh, baby.
Oh, baby.
You to me. The real thing. And then you listen to them, they're like Scousers, you know?
Yeah.
But that was class. I do remember that being like, that's good tunes. Like, trying to think of anything else. No, that's it. Back to you. Oh, my microphone is stuck in my beard.
Oh,
Sorry, I just ripped my beard out.
One of the most beautiful albums that will always kind of stick to me, and every couple of years I kind of fall back into it. It's a very specific kind of emotion, but it's really lovely. It's The Streets, Everything is Borrowed. It was like
Nice.
the first album the Streets made where Mike Skinner got a full band
Yeah.
and he kind of he chilled it out a bit. It wasn't as like fucking garagey and grimy and aggressive. And I
Yeah.
remember because it came out and there was a lot of music at this time actually that I really did resonate with, but I came out around the time when I was a teenager. I was like late teens, probably 17, 18. And at the time in Glamire, loads of my friends were killing themselves. So it was like a really
Jesus
fucking
Christ.
rough time.
Yeah.
But I remember it came out near the end of all that. And this album is so beautiful. There's a song called On the Edge of a Cliff.
Yeah.
And it's literally just about, like, you have to listen to it. The lyrics are fucking gorgeous. It's literally about a guy who's on the edge of a cliff about to kill himself. And then this other dude comes over to him and says all of this beautiful stuff. And then it perpetuates that he doesn't, like, he just leaves the cliff and then he does that to someone else who's also on the edge of a cliff.
Wow, yeah.
And it's just such a beautiful song that I'll never, ever forget how that album made me feel coming out of that really dark time. It was like just on the edge of like starting to feel a bit better and kind of be accepting and like really being like, okay, look, shit is fucking really dark and horrific, but time heals shit and you can feel better and you will feel better eventually. And that album just absolutely hit me in my soul when I first listened to it. And every now and yeah, it really did. Like in every couple of years, I'll just listen back to that album and I'll remember that feeling of like, it's fine. You can do this. Like, just come on, you know? And whenever I show people that album, usually people really are like, Jesus, that is fucking gorgeous. Like I think it was during COVID maybe, or just before COVID, maybe just before or after. I can't really remember, but it was like, I was feeling shitty and I was in a kind of shitty and dark place. And so was my friend. I'm not going to say who it was now because just privacy, whatever. But it was, but I was hanging out with my friend and we were both kind of feeling shitty. And so I was just like, look, let's listen to this album. And I was like, gave them the album. And then like a week or two later came back and was like, that is one of the most beautiful albums I've ever heard. It is incredible. And like, it was like genuinely like, thank you for showing me this album. And I just,
that's the power.
Yeah, it was incredible. So anytime anyone, like obviously The Streets is not for everyone. It's Streets, yo, bruv. They're not for everyone, bruv. What are you saying? What are you saying? Sticky ones still. But whenever, if someone is really fucked up and they do, and they can listen to a bit of The Streets, listen to that album. Yeah. I'm actually going to listen to it later on because it's fucking incredible and it's beautiful.
What's it called again?
Everything is Borrowed, and it's a story.
Everything is Borrowed.
Everything is Borrowed. Yeah. It's fucking deadly.
That's fucking
and
great.
It starts out with like a goom, goom, and it's like a sound on a vinyl that's starting to like pick up, or like a VHS. You know, when you turn it off and it goes, it kind of starts with like a weird tone like that. And the whole album is like a concept of a story that he's going through all these different things and same different like emotions and stuff like that. And it's all like kind of sounds textural, like the way it was recorded. It's all like really lovely. Like I can't describe it's grainy or something, you know. It's beautiful.
Like it's supposed to be on tape kind of thing.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. It sounds like it's on tape. So the album definitely still resos with me, baby.
Resos. Well, no, it's a lot. And honest, like there's a lot, even modern day artists, like obviously Sam Fender is kind of buying into that, but I don't think people realize the impact or the magnitude of like anti-suicide songs that actually like work, you know. But you have to be really clever about it, like in a way that can actually like help someone and not be like a weird condescending thing. Like I feel like it's not the kind of thing you can set out to do.
No, it can't.
I think you can just make observations and hope that it helps or whatever. But it's a really, when people get it right, they get it so right. Like, but then generally, if you get it wrong, it's so wrong. You know.
When there's intention, it's condescending.
Yeah.
You can't like genuine like art that like touches I like, and you might like when you go, it seems like when people go out to make a song like that to be like hopeful and uplifting or whatever, and been like trying to get people to rethink things, those are the songs that are condescending and don't hit. Like,
yeah,
when you come out with when you go out with intention to try and do that, they're the ones where people are like, shut the fuck up, you're a liar. You know, it's not, or not, they wouldn't even say you're a liar, but it's like it just feels off because there's like a certain disingenuous, but how do you say, come on, disingenuity?
like disingenuousness.
Disingenuousness. They're full of shit.
I don't know, actually. Yeah.
But yeah, it just doesn't carry, because for it really to touch emotion, like it has to be real emotion. Like someone has to be singing about something and they're not really trying to be singing about suicide or anything, and they're probably talking about their own experience with it, and then you're able to create whatever meaning you want out of that song and stuff. So when people don't try and do it, it's the songs that seem to really capture people.
It's usually like from a darker tone anyway, like, you know, especially when it comes to hip hop, like Scroobius Pip and people like that, like
classics,
you know, they're able to write about it in a way that sort of resonates, because it's like can come from, you know, the empathy of like the anger that people can feel when they're in that sort of situation, you know, or they're feeling like that, you know. And then I guess like people can sum up hopelessness pretty well as well. I guess you have to be there to get it, but like, you know,
you
like
have
even
to
that,
you have to be there to get it, to really write, to make art about emotions and feelings like that. You must be there. Like if you really want to, if you want to write about suicide, unless you've been in that place where you've thought about doing it or you've nearly done it, like you can't create art that really touches that emotion, because unless you've felt that emotion, you're never really going to understand what it feels like.
well, most artists are like incredible empaths, or they've just been there, you know.
Yeah.
But I guess empathy often comes from being there, you know.
Yeah.
Which is mad, but it's great, and that's what makes good art, like, you know.
That's what makes good art, you know. And when it comes to those kind of songs, I suppose a lot of those music from my teens was attached to that emotion, because of like when I was a teenager, so it was so bleak, and we were all
what was around you as well.
It was around me, and my whole life for like fucking 4 or 5 years was just like suicide. It was rough. So all the music that I listened to at that time, some of it helped, or some of it didn't help, but a lot of it really helped. A lot of the good stuff was really like cathartic, and was really like just doing nothing and just sitting, listening to music, and just like processing through music, you know. Just like slowly picking it up and then being like, okay, let's keep on living.
I think that like the irony of like the 90s and the 2000s was like how like music was like poles apart. Like it was like hard rock / grunge, and then like the poppiest pop music, you know, like
S Club 7,
boy bands and S Club 7, and like then going into 2000s, like, you know, like the fucking, what was it called, the pizza song and all that shit, like, and cheeky girls, and just hyper fucking
hyper pop,
hyper pop, and then just like the darkest shit ever, like going on in rock, like, so it's kind of mad. Well,
and now it's kind of
folks,
switched around. It switched around for a little bit then now recently. Like pop has gotten pop was it's gotten softer now, but it got very depressed there for a while, which was actually really cool. Like a lot of the Billie Eilish stuff, and playing with like genuine hard emotions and being able to portray that through pop music and making it popular. Like everyone loved it. Not everyone, but like, you know, the majority was great. Like darker stuff, you know. I love a bit of darkness.
Bring that back with that. I don't even know what's in the charts right now. I couldn't tell you what was in the top 10. In the Crow. There you go.
It's just all people who sing in an Irish accent.
Well,
which is cool. I love that.
Yeah, like
the Irish accent is taking over pop.
Let's go.
Like, have you listened to Hosier's new album?
No, actually.
It's class. It's really, really good. But he sings, he's after toning down his American or whatever accent. He's after letting out his Dublin accent.
There you go.
It's really strong.
It's actually from
Wicklow. Yeah, he's after. Well, I knew it. The minute I said it, I was like, "Fuck, he's from Wicklow. He's not from Dublin." And I'm sorry for anyone who's from Wicklow.
Sorry to the Bray heads.
Sorry to the Bray lads. But his accent
Eddie
is
Taylor's gonna kick the shit out of you.
proper Bray. It's great, and he's singing a couple of songs in Irish as well. It's lovely.
Oh, Bahu.
It's great
Bahu.
stuff. Aboo, aboo. But
Aboo. Yeah, good man. I think we've covered a lot today, ladies and gentlemen, but sadly we're running out of time.
Before we go, what is your favorite movie?
My favorite movie of all time. It's a tough one.
Doesn't have to be of all time. What's your favorite movie at the moment?
Off the top of my head, There Will Be Blood is very good. Or anything by Paul Thomas Anderson.
You're nothing but your mother's afterbirth, Eli.
I drink your
milkshake. I drink it up.
You've crawled out.
That is a fucking
filth.
Masterpiece.
I'm gonna bury you in the dirt. I'm burying the ground. I don't know. I need to go up on my quotes now. When I was a child, it was American Tail. With Feifel Mouskowitz.
Yeah.
But now we'll see. I think it's probably something with Daniel Day-Lewis and Paul Thomas Anderson. Two guys, they know how to make movies.
They do know how to make movies, in fairness. D.D. Lewis is fucking serious.
And you, what's your favorite movie? Before we wrap.
Oh, I don't know. I love so many of them.
I Am Legend.
Sicario, as I mentioned before, is definitely high up there. Sicario, Dune, Blade Runner, Inception, Hot Fuzz, Shaun of the Dead. What else do I?
That's a lot. No, that's a lot.
Yeah, I see. I can't find favorite movies. They all bring me something different.
Yeah, exactly. That's the point, though. It's
like Hot Fuzz and Shaun of the Dead are just some of the best comedy movies. So inventive comedy movies, because Edgar Wright is just such an incredible director that he's so not lazy when it comes to comedy.
Yeah.
Because he actually really, every scene, every shot is really determined. It's meant to it's meant to be funny. So those are incredible. And then Dune and Blade Runner are just such like epic long movies where like every shot is just like meticulously crafted to make you feel something.
Mm-hmm.
Where you're just like,
scale.
God, yeah, it's just scale and awe. And then same with Sicario. Sicario just has such a really fucking depressing anxiety tone through the whole movie where you just feel kind of like, oh, Jesus, this is wrong. And
like
just
Uncut Gems or something.
Exactly, yeah. And not like Uncut Gems actually is just too much anxiety.
that's like full-blown panic attack.
Yeah, full-blown panic attack the whole time. So yeah, the two Sicario definitely just has that like general, what the fuck? This is kind of depressing. But like again, Denis Villeneuve, baby, just meticulous attention to like composition and every scene. You're just like the favorite scene in Sicario is near the very end. I'm not going to give it away for people, but there's some military lads and they're going to a base, and it's like just after dusk, so it's kind of blue hour, and it's just kind of like silhouetted of the horizon, and then all you see like the really dark Sicario music comes on. It's like the boom, and then all you see is the silhouette of the lads in their tactical gear climbing up the side of the hill. It's one of the best scenes, most gorgeous scenes I've ever seen in a movie. You should YouTube just that scene. It's fucking beautiful.
Fuck me, man.
Fuck me, man.
Me. Well, there we go. That's my homework for this evening.
Get on it, bitch.
Get on it, bitch. But that's it for us, ladies and gentlemen. I believe episode 40 of the Sorry Do I Know You podcast. Thank you for listening, as always. If you wouldn't mind giving us a rating on iTunes, that would be really nice. Otherwise, if you listen to us on Spotify or YouTube, you can just give us a comment or a like there on YouTube. Tell us what you want to hear, perhaps. Give us a follow on Instagram at Sorry Do I Know You Pod. And you can follow me on Instagram at colin.andrew.mus. And Ian, would you like to give them your handle and your information, please?
You can follow me at Mr_Gubna at Instagram. And if there's any movies or songs or pieces of artwork or music or whatever that resonates with you at any time in your life, please send it to us so we can send it to us and tell us what it is and it means to you. And then we'll have a listen to it. And maybe talk about it on the next podcast if you want.
Great idea. Excellent.
Get into it, baby. Pleasure.
Thank you.
As always.
Thank you.
Bye. Bye.
Do the Derek Mooney.
Bye. I swear he's going to come out with some bad shit in a couple of years.
Fact.
He's not untouchable at all. No one is.
Yeah, you think you're untouchable, Mooney?
Derek Mooney, the Predator.
D Moons, we got you, boy.
Was it winning streak he was?
That was Marty Whelan.
No.
Marty Whelan does winning streak. Derek Mooney did like the other one when they were on the off season or whatever. I don't know what the fuck it was called. Anyway, he's does like nature shows as well.
Yeah. Anyway, peace out. Lots of love.
Peace out.
Keep it real.
Oh, I thought we were well off the pod at this point.
Oh, no. Okay, we're done now. Bye.
Sorry, do I know you? Just two friends till the end, drift apart, then back again. Sorry, do I know you?
Sorry, do I know you?